Hi folks, how you doing? In the fifth round of the 2014 Sinquefield Cup, Fabiano Caruana, who's leading 4 out of 4 so far, the tournament had the chance to go into a historical 5 out of 5, the history's strongest chess tournament by the average rating of the players. So let us go to the game directly. I don't want to spoil anybody's surprise. He was playing against Nakamura, who is playing white here. Hikaru plays 1d4. We reach a Slav, kind of surprising because I think Caruana is more of a Grunfeld player, but anyway, he can play this as well, I guess. And after knight f3, knight f6, Nakamura plays somehow an unusual move, knight bd2, blocking the way of the bishop on c1. Okay, not a very common move. I have seen GM Ipatov playing this live a couple of times in a tournament. I met him. But okay, it's a move, but not that usual. You can see bishop f5 making lots of sense. Now knight h4, bishop to e4, forcing f3, not forcing, but kind of provoking f3. Now the bishop goes to g6. It's where it was going to land anywhere. e3. I mean, this bishop is now playing, defending c4, e6, g3. Most probably giving this knight away back to g2 if necessary. Bishop e7, a3. Now wait a moment, weren't we supposed not to move so many pawns in the opening? Well, that's what our teachers or trainers used to tell us, at least. Of course, you can assume these super GMs know these chess basics. They have these basics on their DNA, but precisely for that reason, they are so strong that they also know the exceptions. So anyway, if you're below 2300, I wouldn't recommend to try this at home. Moving so many pieces, so many pawns in the opening, a3, e3, g3, f3. These most seem more normal, but anyway, this is a strange opening. A weirdo by Nakamura, who likes to play original and fresh ideas, you know. Knight bd7, Caruana keeps playing normal moves, developing. Now c takes. Nakamura finally takes on g6. H takes, he gets the bishop pair. But well, strange looking pawn structure here. Not bad, not good. It's just a position. Bishop to d3. And why not? If if Black here has the chance to counterblast in the center with his e pawn, it seems like a good idea. e5. Both players castle. Now queen b3 attacking b7, also having an eye here on this diagonal, which could be interesting potentially. Queen c8 is doing the job of defending b7. Note that no rook can go to c1, molesting this queen right now. And now a funny maneuver by both players. They both relocate their knights via their original squares. Knight goes back to b1. It was absolutely logical, as the bishop wants to go to d2, and the knight will go to c3. E takes, and guess what? Caruana says, well, I'm going to recycle my knight through b8 as well. Both knights went back to their original square and they're going to go to the normal squares c3, c6. Knight c3, knight c6. Now d4 is under attack, so bishop e3, defending. Queen to d7, improving the queen. Rook a d1, rook fd8. And both players have an isolated central pawn here on the d file. Potentially weak, and it will be a question of if anyone can coordinate a successful siege against this weak pawn. So both players, we're going to see them kind of maneuvering around to see what they can get. Rook f e1. Now, nice maneuver by Caruana, centralizing the knight, improving his knight. Goes to e8 with the idea to go c7, e6 to attack even more this d4 pawn. Bishop to f2, knight to c7. Well, now this bishop isn't doing that great of a job here. It's not defending the weakness, it's not attacking the opponent's weakness, so it goes to f1, where eventually maybe bishop h3 could be someday possible, something like molesting the queen or something. Bishop f6, yet another attacker against white's d4 pawn. And an original idea here, creative play by Nakamura, queen a2. He wants to play b4, blockade this queen side, and the queen will be more active on the second rank, could go here and there, change position. g5, good prophylactic idea. I mean, this is a nice positional game once again by both players so far. This is not allowing just an idea white could have of putting the bishop on g2 and play f4. Then the bishop would be strong on the big diagonal. Well, now that's stopping it, making sure that f4 is very difficult to make. b4 is played by Nakamura. g6 as well is played by Caruana. Queen d2, king g7. Both players solidify their position. I especially like black's concept of bringing the king to the 7th rank, giving himself the possibility of moving the rook to the h file if necessary, just centralizing everything, keeping it solid and waiting for white to play. Nakamura goes slightly aggressive here, not sure if that's the most precise of the moves here, but not. I mean, we shouldn't criticize strong play like this for something like b5, knight d7. Now pawn on b5 might be a little bit weak, and bishop e3 is played. Nakamura tries to play active, attacks the pawn on g5, but black is just on time to go with the knight to e6, centralizing, and now he's defending g5 with both pieces. Bishop h3, the only piece which wasn't doing that much, just defending b5, which is actually a task, but now on h3 it's doing a great job pinning this knight. But guess what, black is just on time to put the other knight on f5. Now there is no more pin anymore. g5 keeps being protected, and now you're attacking bishop on e3, taking away the bishop pair from white. This is a key defender of the d4 pawn, so good job so far by Caruana, holding the position very well. Bishop takes, g takes was played, and f4, understandingly. I mean, this is really not that difficult to understand. White tries to crack this position of black on the king side. If takes, well, of course, this is opening up, and black king may be in danger. But actually, it could black backfire as well, as g4 is closing this position, and now the bishop on e3 doesn't look very active piece. It's just kind of a big pawn holding d4 so far, but nothing that great. Queen to d3, attacking here, attacking f5, but Caruana goes active now. He's looking much better than white. Rook ac8. Now you can't take, of course, f5. c3 would be hanging. The queen is the protector of the knight. Rook c1. Now rook to c4. I mean, now it would be theoretically possible to take on f5, but doesn't seem a great idea, as black would be winning d4, a central pawn. Now an exchange of queens is in the air, which would favor black absolutely, as this knight is threatening a fork here. Black has a passed pawn, central passed pawn, good coordination. This wouldn't be very nice for white. I mean, whenever this knight leaves, the c3 knight is under attack by the bishop and the rook, so everything working fine here for black. So taking on f5 wasn't that good, but Nakamura instead has a very dim faith here, just passive defense, having to defend d4. And black is, on the other hand, very active. The knight, the bishop, the rook on c4, a nice piece. Meanwhile, white bishop on e3, not doing that much. Once again, knight to c7. When you have centralized piece, you can allow yourself, you can afford these kind of maneuvers, attacking this and that weakness. Remember, the b5 pawn was potentially weak. Well, now it is going to be lost, as we're going to see. Knight back to c3, rook c8 first, connecting both rooks on the f-pawn file. Really positional masterpiece this time, once again by Fabiano Caruana, who's playing absolutely amazing in this tournament. h3, desperation, I would say, because, I mean, try to open up something there. Someday you will dream of g takes, rook g1, g4, but that seems very, very difficult to make. G takes h3, king h2 was played by Nakamura, but now black just simply takes on b5. That's a pawn. Knight takes, queen takes, and black is up a solid pawn, playing only for the 2 result. Not very pleasant to be white here, saying it mildly. King takes h3 was played, and queen back to d7. Good looking rooks dominating the c file. Well, white is just on time to keep the rook on c1 defended by the bishop and the rook, but still, with some technique here, black should be really having lots of options to win the game. King back to g2, b5 solidifying his position, rook b1, a6, and the rook goes back to c1. And now queen e6 with possibilities for lots of material imbalances here. Sharp move by Caruana. Bishop f2 was played here, attacking a discarded attack against the queen, and in fact that's what Caruana was willing to go into here. I mean, there was a very pretty move here, suggested during the live stream by GM Gustafsson on Twitter. This was precious. Queen e4 check was a possibility here, sacrificing the queen. Well, there are lots of options of captures here. Rook takes e4 is the main one, and if f takes, well, the queen is under attack, the rook is under attack, so if rook takes c4, e takes d3 was even possible, sacrificing even the other rook on c8, because if white takes on c8, guess what? This d2 pawn is going to promote, and there is no way your white is stopping this pawn, so there was these funny continuations, funny lines available in this nice position. But Caruana just went with the queen sacrifice for 2 rooks. He played rook takes c1, rook took on e6, Fabiano takes back, and there is 2 rooks and the extra pawn for Caruana. The engine quite liking back black. Well, the difference basically I think is the bishops. I mean, white bishop is really very passive, condemned here to the defense of the weak d4 pawn, while the black bishop is an aggressive piece attacking the weak d4 pawn. On the other hand, the black rooks are connected, very active, and eventually white king and queen may be weak here, so definitely better game here for black, for Caruana. Nakamura tries to activate his queen by opening up this position, the queen side, the king side, and here Caruana had a perfect opportunity to close the game with in a very nice style, a really cute move here he had available, but he was under some time trouble, I think, so he didn't see bishop h4 here. I mean, I think he for sure saw that, but maybe didn't calculate it out, or overlooked something. Well, the whole point is that black rooks are really very active here, and taking the rook would be criminal for white, as now after rook 8 to c3, guess who's trapped? Lady Majesty. White queen is trapped, and if she goes to e2, well, either rook to c2 and black is winning the house, so taking on h4 wasn't possible, and otherwise the other rook is as well coming here and check. So this is a very, very nice position for black, a winning one in fact. But Caruana made his task of winning the game a little bit more difficult. He took on g4, which is giving all of a sudden Nakamura some counterplay with the queen. Now he goes e2 attacking g4, threatening a check on g4. Caruana now is bound to try to hide his king with king f7. Now queen d3, a check on h7 is threatened, and well, he really can't stop avoiding the check, so activates his rook, pinning the bishop on the second rank. Queen h7 check. Not sure if deservedly, but Nakamura gets some counterplay, counter chances with the queen activity. King a8, king e8, but suddenly this is a mistake by Nakamura here. I mean, okay, not easy to play here, of course, not easy to suggest good moves, but f5 doesn't seem very great, as Caruana will show us. His king is finally going to escape checks, and in exchange he's going to win White's bishop by this simple capture on d4, and now the bishop is pinned and attacked twice. There is no way White is defending the bishop, so this is basically peace. Of course, Nakamura gets some checks, but Caruana had calculated this well, it seems, and he was about to show us how he's going to hide his king on the queen side. So queen g6 check, king d8. Nakamura first takes on e6 with the queen, so Caruana can take now on f2 with a check. King g3. A series of checks by Fabiano followed here. Rook c3 check. White takes. Check on g2. King f4. Another check. King g4, and now finally the task of black is right now to make secure post for his king, hide his king, and the rest is a matter of technique. King c7, queen e7 check, king to b6, some more checks. Now the rook can come in on c7. Nakamura takes the d5 pawn, attacks bishop. It wasn't necessary to play bishop c5. It seems this is what Caruana plays, but king a5 hiding the king was possible, is absolutely very safe, because the bishop is of course untouchable. If queen takes, well, thanks for the queen, this is winning the house. But okay, bishop c5 making sense, of course. Queen d8 pinning the rook, king to b7, and f6. Nakamura tries to push his only passed pawn, tries to get more counterplay, but this is already too late. Bishop takes on a3, a check on d5, king to b6, again queen back to d8, again bishop back to c5, queen b8 check, rook b7, queen d8 check, king a7. Finally, no more checks for Nakamura. Black king is safe, and now Caruana can make the job of, well, either advancing his passed pawn, controlling White's one, or attack White king. I mean, he has three very active and well coordinated pieces, so matter of some technique, I think, here. Queen to d5 was played. The bishop goes back to b6. King g5, but now rook c7 with the threat of going to c5, winning the queen. King goes up to g6, b4. Don't forget that Caruana has a couple of passed pawns, connected passed pawns. Queen e6, and now bishop to d4, and the threat of taking on f6 with probably the rook with a check is kind of unstoppable. So Nakamura resigned finally after 67 moves, a long game. Hikaru had enough for today, and there it goes. An astonishing 5 out of 5 start, perfect half of the tournament for Fabiano Caruana. I think he's winning like 25 points, rating points, like crazy performance, because you're playing the strongest chess tournament in history, and it's absolutely unbelievable score. It's really amazing, an alien performance, what Fabiano Caruana is doing so far in the 2014 Sinquefield Cup. You may want to remember what were you doing these days, because I can tell you this tournament is going to be remembered for decades. Thanks for watching.